Okay, jeg håber, at folk, der er på streamen, kan høre mig. Of course, I have to do it in English, brain fart on my side. So I hope you can all hear me. I will basically be going through a bunch of the exercises from Felder, and I will start with some of the simpler ones without any recycling or bypass or any chemical reactions. And we'll basically see how far we get today. So the first one we'll be looking at is the assignment 4.3 that you can hopefully see on your screen. And basically I'm going to show you how I would do a simple sketch for this system, how I would then transfer that into Excel, and how I would set up all of my stream informations, equations, and finally how I would solve them in Excel. And I got a message from something. Who cares? Anyways, in this case it's actually fairly simple. We're told that we have a mixture of benzene and toluene that enters a evaporator, and we basically get a stream of vapor and a residual liquid. So how would you draw that? Well, basically, let's see if this works. We have a stream into a reactor, and what we're told is we have a top stream and we have a bottom stream. And then if we label the first part of our system 1, if we use our normal way of naming our streams, we would have S01, S11, and S12. So now we have our streams labeled, and we can then look at the information we're given. And we are being told that in our stream 01, so in our entry stream, we have 55% of benzene. And of course a lot of you would then say that we can quickly calculate that we must have 45% of toluene. But we'll put that in Excel later. So actually that is, what else are we being told? Let's see. Our vapor phase, so S11, we're told that it contains... No, we're not allowed to calculate. I'll make a small star and say that one we're not going to touch right now. I just want to get the information so I don't forget it. What else are we being told? We are told in our vapor phase we have 85% of benzene, so that would be our stream 11. So we have 85% of benzene in that stream. And we're being told in our bottom stream we have 10.6% of benzene as well. And then we're actually being told in the first assignment that we should assume a feed rate of 100 kilograms per hour. So that would be our S01, would have a total mass of 100 kilograms per hour. Is there anything else we're being told? I will just point out I have done these in Excel, but I have decided to basically read through them as if it's the first time I see them. I can't remember all the values, so we'll have a bit of time where you can follow along. But basically this is all the information we're given, and now we want to put this into Excel. So how would we approach that? Well, let me just cheat a bit. If we go to our Excel sheet, and I have cheated and drawn the same one without the extra information about our streams, but this is just so we can remember which streams are which. So we have our stream 01, our stream 11, and our stream 12. Then we have the total mass in each stream. Okay, I'm just gonna silence my phone because that gets annoying. Why the fuck are you all sitting there watching it together? My students are mental. It's lovely. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, I'll just silence my phone. There we go. So where were we? Yes, we have our streams 01, 11, and 12. Then we have our Actually, I'm gonna try it a bit different, because some of you had some trouble with the way I was doing the equation, so I've simplified it a bit. So before I would have my fraction, and then I would have my percentage of B, or percentage of benzene, and my percentage of toluene. I'm gonna put the same information in there. I'm just gonna switch it around a bit. So I will say this is my mass of benzene and my mass of toluene. Here we have my percentage of benzene, my percentage of toluene. And over here I'm basically just checking that my fractions in my streams, that they all add up to 1. We must have our streams consisting of 100% of something. So to do that, I write equal summa in Spanish, I believe, and I basically pick my two cells that contain my percentages of B and T, and at the moment it sums up to 0. That's fine, we haven't written anything. To save a bit of time, I'll grab the corner here, drag it down, and you can see that the equations just change to E3 F3, E4 F4. So now I have a way of checking that all of what I put in actually sums up to 1. So let's put in some of the information, and we'll do it the correct way right now. So I was told that I had 55% of B in my stream 01. I was told that I have, that's the top one, so 85% there, and 10.6% in the bottom stream. So that's actually what I've been told. I've also been told that I should assume 100 kilograms of mass entering my system. So we're just gonna do as I showed before. We're gonna mark these and say these are the unknowns we have. Of course you can say that these are unknowns as well, but we can express them quite easily from the two percentages and our total mass. So we could say that the mass of benzene in our stream 01, we can say, well, that's the percentage of benzene times the total mass. And as I've told you a couple of times, if you press F4 a couple of times here, so we have the $sign at our B. No, that is, we'll get to that. Whoever Trigona is, yeah. I'm just gonna fill these out, check that I got it right. So you can see, because I had the $sign, my B column remains the same. And I can then be super lazy and just do like this. Now, there are two ways we can approach the percentages. In this case, we only have two components, so it's very obvious that the toluene will be 1 minus whatever I have in my benzene. Now, I can either do that by forcing Excel to make all of my fractions 1, or I can do a simple calculation and just put in, whoa, I did it wrong, 1 minus the cell I have here. Then I get my composition of toluene. If I do this, I have now decided on these cells for Excel, even though they could be assumed to be sort of variable, or at least it would be cells that I could ask Excel to calculate as part of the solver. In this case, it is a fairly simple assignment, so we'll just put in these equations to tell me what my compositions of toluene is in all of the streams. That leaves me with only two variables: how much goes through my S11 in total, and how much exits in S12 in total. I just need to check the assignment. We're not told anything else, right? Nope. So now we want to set up our balances. In this case, again, it's fairly simple because it is a small system, but we can set up a total mass balance, a benzene mass balance, and a toluene mass balance. We can set up a balance for our first unit operation and for our entire system. Now, if we start out with our total mass, we look at our drawing and we say, well, what enters our first unit operation? That would be S01, so the total mass of S01 enters. and then we subtract the streams that exits. So in this case, that would be this one, 1, 1 exits, plus 1, 2 exits. Fairly simple balance. So now we have what enters minus what exits, and that should hopefully give 0 when we solve it. And because I switched it around a bit how I do the calculations, I don't need my $signs over here. If I drag it along here, we'll just check it. You can see that I'm basically taking the amount of, or the mass of benzene in 0, 1 and subtracting the mass of benzene in 1, 1 and 1, 2. So now I have my 3 balances, the total, benzene and toluene. In this case, because we only have one unit operation, our total mass balance, you can see, will be the same. It'll be what enters our system, 0, 1, and what exits, 1, 1 and 1, 2. So in this case, you could say we can write it, but there's no point. It's basically the same. On top of that, these 3 equations are actually not independent. If I know 2 of them, my third one will also be determined. So I actually only need 2 of my cells to determine my system. So that's what we're going to try now. We'll go to the out. Just in case some of you don't have Solver activated in Excel yet, we'll just do that. File, Options, Add-ins, and then we click Go. And then we can activate our Solver and click OK. And we now have our solver. If we go to the data part, we have our solver here. So let's open it up. In this case, our K2 is our total mass balance. We would like that, we would like that to equal 0. And what else do we have? We can say that this cell, so our balance for benzene, also has to equal 0. Yeah, I think you have to mark your Excel window and then do it. I'm not a Mac user, so I actually don't know. I happen to know that if you Google how to activate Solver in Excel on Mac, there will be guides with lovely screenshots. Otherwise, I'll be more than happy to help you next time, because we did solve it. I just can't remember exactly how. Oh, you can't see the... Oh, hang on. Okay. Thank you. Hang on a second. Then I know what's wrong. How do I fix that? How do I fix that? That won't work. That will work if I remove that. Hang on. Okay, let's try it again. Just to activate the solver in Excel, we go to File, we go to Options, and then here we have our add-ins. And if you click Manage Excel Add-ins, Go, you can then check off Solver, and you have the solver activated. And hopefully I'll just keep an eye on my stream. Now we have this. Okay, we'll just take that from the beginning. So we've set up our balances, and we've entered all of the information we were given. So we can open our solver, and then we can just say, normally when you open up solver, whatever cell you had activated, it's gonna put it in your objective cell. Otherwise you just click here, and you can then pick whatever cell it is. In this case, we want our total mass balance to equal 0. We want our benzene mass balance to equal, to equal 0. Which cells can we change? Well, we actually only have 2 variables. So if you click here, we can select these 2 cells and say those are the 2 cells that we are actually allowed to change. I believe this should be enough. So fingers crossed, we'll try and see what Excel... Oh no, hang on. Before I do that, it's often a good idea to give Excel some values in all of these cells. It can sometimes mess up a bit. So we'll just put some values into those two cells. One of the main issues I've noticed, yeah, you have to watch out for that. I've done the exact same thing using smaller than or equal when I meant greater than or equal or whatever. Another thing I did notice is if you put in random numbers, let's just see how can I do that. So let's say I did like this. This could actually be a problem because Excel tends to notice that this cell is already 0, so any change it makes probably makes it not 0. So I just change it to 49, and Excel is going to go back and say, no, if I change it in that direction, it's bad. So Excel sort of gets stuck. So it's a good idea to just put in some random numbers when we're talking about the compositions. Keep them below 1, so between 0 and 1. But let's try it. K2, yeah, K2 equal to 0, L2 equal to 0. It can change those two. I actually don't know if we have to put another constraint. Oh no, it's on the wrong screen. Hang on. There we go. Excel found a lovely solution for us. And we can then take a look at what has changed. Excel found that 59.6 kilograms will exit in the top and 40.3 will exit in the bottom. So that's basically how you approach solving a mass balance. This was one of the simpler ones. So I'll just check. Could we do that one? That's a bit more complicated and interesting. Okay. So we'll continue to the next assignment. I'll just mark these. So this was 4.3 and 4.6. Oh, 4.31. I don't think so. Let me just check something. The thing is, I think I want to give a bit more time to one of the teams. Where is my calendar? Yeah, I will be doing what was it? Someone wrote it. 4.31, 4.31. You know what? I just need to check which one that is. Okay. So issues with fractions. Are we talking about the equation that gives 2.25? Yeah. I will be going through that assignment in a stream, not this one. I want to give the Danish team some more time tomorrow to work on it and try and help them there. I think you'll have had equal time, both groups, to do it. But I have noted that 4.31 is one of the ones that we need to go through, so I will do that. I think Saturday I'll have time to go through that as well. But yeah, we'll figure that out. Yeah, it can give some issues. I managed to get it set up so it worked. So I will show that solution at some point. But we can move towards 4.31 because we have another distillation column hiding somewhere. There we go. So we've now done 4.3. If we look at 4.6, which I throw away, I won't be drawing this. They're nice enough to have actually drawn it for us. So we'll basically just take their version. Oh, actually, because I need the streams, do I have that? That would be really nice if I had that. I hadn't considered. Where is the solutions? Fine. We will do it like this. Here we go. Paint is the way to go. Oh, the audio keeps fading in and out. Where is my audio settings? I apologize for that. I will just have to move a bit closer to the mic and hopefully that should fix it. But right now I'm basically just talking to myself while thinking, because... Or can I do that smarter somehow? I thought I had everything drawn like I wanted. I didn't. But we shall do a small introduction to another program that you know very well. Some of you at least. Can you do this? There we go. Okay, we'll just put in some text here. So we'll say this one is our S01. This one will be our S02. This will be our S11. Our S12. I'll just put on my headphones so I can listen and hear if I have any issues. So we have our S12, our S11, S12, and S13. So if I copy all of that into that work. That sort of works. We'll be able to see it mostly. So basically we'll do the exact same thing. Set up all of the information we have. 1, 2, 1, 3. We have our total. We have our, in this case, we have the mass of A, B, and C. Percentage of A, percentage of B, percentage of C, and we'll just put in a fraction, and I'll just fill this out. I sum up, in this case, 3 fractions, like that, and I can actually just drag that down. That was one too far. There we go. Okay, what information are we being given? We don't know this one, so I'll just get my orange color. That one we don't know. We don't know the... we actually know that for B we have 3%, for C we have 97%. You can already see that adds up to a fraction of 1. I'll just cheat and write in a 0 right away. Do we know the mass there? We do. Do we know the mass in 1, 1? We don't. Do we know the mass in 1, 2? Yes, we do. And we do not know our mass in 1, 3. So compositions in 0, 2, we actually only know that we don't have any C. So when they write it like they have done in this case, you know that there's no C present. Otherwise, they would have to write, what would that be, Z2 of C in kilograms of C per kilogram. So we know that one is 0, but the 2 others we actually don't know. In our composition in 1, 1, we actually know that it is pure A, so we can see that from the way they write it, where they say that M3 is measured not in kilograms per hour, but in kilograms A per hour. So we know that it's pure A in the top, therefore the other 2 are 0. In 1, 2, what are we told there? We're told we have 70% of A, and we don't know how much we have of B, and C. And in the final one, we are told we have no A, we have 60% of B and 40% of C. So these are the unknowns we have. Now we can do the exact same thing as we did in the last one and take some of the simpler information we're given. So for instance, for our fractions, we can say that this one must be equal to 1 minus this one. We don't have any C in our stream. If we know how much B we have, then we can calculate how much A. So I'm just going to mark that in a green color to say that started out as a variable, and now we've defined it as something else, as an equation. 1 minus G3. We do the same thing for one of these. So this one would be equal to 1 minus this minus this. And we'll color that green. Now in theory we could actually start doing the same in some of the other cases, or we could try and look at how we can set it up with all sorts of different equations in these cells. I've seen some people do that, where they would say, well, stream 1 would be equal to stream 0, 1 plus 0, 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1, 3, which is technically correct, but it can quite quickly be difficult to figure out what goes where and what equations you have written in. On top of that, if you're not really careful, you'll end up with something like this. So if I say my 1, 3, what would that be? Well, that would be my 0, 1, my 0, 2. I can subtract my 1, 1 and my 1, 2. That is a legitimate mathematical expression, and Excel gets really angry at us because it's now circular references. This cell is dependent on this cell, and this cell is dependent on this cell, so we can't do that. So let's just instead write some numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We don't know any of these over here. We don't know what it is. Let's say 0.2, 0.1, whatever. Now, I mean, you end up, you can really mess it up if you're not careful on how you actually type in the equations. And that's why I try to say, start out putting as little information in as possible, write up your balances, have Excel solve it. If Excel can't solve it, or if it gives solutions that doesn't make sense, then we can start and look at, are there any constraints we forgot, or is there any equations we didn't put in like we should? So the final thing now though is, let's just see, the amount of A I have must be the percentage of A multiplied by my total mass. And I just drag it along and drag it down. There we go. So now I actually have the amounts of A, B, and C in all of my streams defined from the compositions and the total masses. And just for sort of a sanity check, I have my fractions. So in this case, again, unfortunately, we only have one unit operation, but we can do our total mass, we can do our A, B, and C for the first. So what is our total like? Well, what enters? That would be 0, 1 plus 0, 2 minus, and I just sum up. So that one plus that one plus that one. Basically, I have two streams entering, S01, S02, and I have three streams exiting, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. So that's my total balance, and I can just drag it along, and we can just check, it's moved to the A column, it's moved to the B column. So now I actually have all of my balances. So can Excel solve this? Well, let's give it a shot. Go to our data and our solver. Again, in this case, it has already picked L2, that was the cell I had activated. I want it to be 0. I want all of the other ones to be 0. And which cells can we change? Well, we could change this, 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 and this, all of the yellow ones. Let's see what happens. Excel actually found a solution. Solver found a solution. Excellent. Does it make sense? All of our fractions are good. Oh, we have a problem. Excel has given us a negative composition. So that won't do. So we have to figure out a way to actually avoid this. How can we do that? We could just go in our solver. And where is it? Where is it? And we could actually just say that all of these have to be greater than or equal to 0. Check that it's greater. It is now. And we can try and solve again. Excel has found another solution for us. Now what's interesting in this case is we actually went through, or I went through on the whiteboard, and we looked at how many variables and how many equations and all of this. And you actually end up having too many variables, which means we can define some of these things ourselves. So as an example, I hope this works, I could say, you know what, I'm gonna decide that in my stream 01, I don't want to send in 756, I want to send in 1200 instead. I'm just gonna color it green to say that I have now locked this in place. And of course I then have to remove it from the variables in my solver. So this, 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 this. I hope this works. Excel found a solution. So now we're in a situation where we actually have an infinite number of solutions. I believe it was 2 variables you could pick freely. So I could actually define one of the other ones as well. That actually makes sense because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables I started with, and I only have 3 equations. So in theory, I should be able to pick 2 variables freely and still have a solution. If you're in a situation where you have more variables than you have equations, Excel can still solve it. It'll just find one of the many solutions that exists. So that's when you have to step in and say, is there anything I want to decide? If you need to, for instance, if you need to be able to adapt it easily to the amount that enters in 01, the easiest would be to type in, for instance, 100 or 1000, so that you can easily scale it to different situations. But in this case, we have actually found now 2 solutions that would be possible with the information we are given. The reason, just to make it clear, the reason I'm not doing the mass balance for our entire system is that when we only have one unit operation, those equations will be the same. So, do I have one where it isn't? Oh, okay. So we will move on to another assignment. I'll just find one with more unit operations. Yeah, true. So in this case, I have set up 4 equations. That's actually not right. I can only use 3 of them. And that's also why I started out having 5 unknowns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can set up 3 valid equations. The 4th one will be dependent on the other ones. But we'll now take a look at one where we actually have more unit operations and where we get some information that can be a bit tricky to enter in a mass balance. Where did I put the assignments? They are here. And the one we're going to look at is for 9. I think that's hiding over here somewhere. Here we go, the strawberry one. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you actually, if you haven't solved it yourselves, at least you've seen someone who has solved it by hand and had that presented to you, but we're just gonna go through it. In this case we don't have a drawing, so now I have to find my drawing software, which is there. And let's see what the assignment says. We have strawberries with some water and some solids. We're mixing it with sugar and then we're evaporating something. So how I would normally do this is to say I have a box where I mix two streams. So I have two streams entering here, S01, S02. Then I pass it along to an evaporator where I will evaporate some water out, and then hopefully I'll have my jam. So let's just say 1 and 2, so this would be S11, S21 and S22. So this is basically what we are told how the system looks. I'll just make sure that it's not too confusing that I have more than one drawing. So that's what we're looking at now. The information we're given is that our strawberries, so I'm going to say that's our 01, I think, let me just check, yeah, contains 15% of solids and 85% of water. Our 02 is where I want to add my sugar or my glucose, I've decided to call it. This will be pure sugar, so that is 100% of glucose. We mix them together. So in stream 1-1 we actually don't know anything about the compositions really. In 2-1 we know that that's the water we're evaporating, so here we'll have 100% of water. And in the final stream we actually are only told that a third of that stream is water. So that's what we know from the start, and we'll now try and put that into Excel. So if I can just find Excel, I can't, there we go, we'll make a new one. This one was for 9. I've made a small drawing here. Oh, are we told the masses? Ah! Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying. I'll add that when we get to Excel, because I actually wouldn't put that in my drawing of my system. I'll show you how I'll add it to Excel so it's a bit easier to keep track of. So we can say we have our stream 01, our stream 02, stream 11, stream 21, stream 22. I wouldn't object to you actually putting it in, so just jumping back here. God, my writing is terrible. So if you, for instance, how would you do that? So you could say that you could call this one M01. Oh, you can't see that. The mass in 01, M01. And then my mass for 02, if you called that, what'll that be? 55 over 45 times M01. I believe that's what it checks out at as. If you wanted to write that, sure. I know you've had actually I think it's 431, the distillation one you struggle with. two of the streams in the top, they are both labeled like, I think it's N3, both of them, to basically say the amount of moles in both of the streams are the same. But that's, I won't really, N1, yeah, I won't really get bogged down in that. If you want to add it somewhere so you have it in your drawing, I can understand that. You'll see that the way I put it in, I'm actually not gonna add that information right away. So, did they end up looking mostly the same? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so I have the sketch of the system here, just so we know which streams are which. And again, we have our total, we have our solids, we have our water, and we have our glucose. And then we have our percentage of solids, our percentage of water, and our percentage of glucose. And finally our fraction. I'm just gonna skip through this a bit quickly. I think you all get this part of the concept by now. And we're gonna start to enter information. Now, in the assignment at the start, we're actually not given any masses. So all of these, we could say that they are actually unknowns or variables. Where's my orange? I like the orange. What else are we told? We're told about some compositions. In 0,1, 15% of solids, 85% of water, no glucose. In our 0,2, we only have glucose. What else? In 1,1, no idea what the composition is gonna be. In 2,1, I know it's only gonna be water, because that's the water I'm evaporating. And in the final one, how do I want to do that? You could put in that this has to be a third, because we know a third of it has to be water. Wasn't that how they stated it? 1/3 water by mass. So you could put that in here if you wanted. For now, I'm just gonna leave that blank just to show you how you can set it up in a different way. And then we'll actually try and put in a third there to see if that works as well. It should, of course. Now, for balances, we have a total mass balance. We have our solid, water, and glucose. We have for our first, second, and our total system. And we basically just start out and say, in our first unit operation, what enters? Well, that's 0,1 plus 0,2. What exits? 1,1. There we go. Balance for the first one. Drag it along. Check that it's doing what I want. Yes. In the second one, what is entering our second unit operation? That would be 1,1 minus 2,1 plus 2,2. That check out. 1,1 enters, 2,1 and 2,2 exits. Yep. We can then drag it along. Check one of them to make sure. Yes. And finally, our total, what enters would be 0,1 plus 0,2. And what exits would be 2,1 and 2,2. There we go. So now I actually have all of my balances. Again, only, for instance, only this part of them would actually be valid equations. All of the other equations I can derive from these 6 equations. So now we look at some of the information we're given. First of all, just for the fun of it, how many unknowns do we have right now? That should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm just gonna write that here. 11 degrees of freedom right now. Now, up here we saw that I had 6 equations. So that's 6 of my degrees of freedom I can remove. For my compositions, again, if I know 2 of them, I know the final one. I have that in 2 streams here. so I can subtract another 2 degrees of freedom. What else can I do? Right now I can't really do that much more. If I had my third already, I could put that in. But what I can do now is I can say that I'm given some extra information. I'm being told that the relation between S01 and S02 is 45/55, right? That information is given in the assignment right here, 45/55 mass ratio. I can then put up an equation here where I say if I take 45/55 and I subtract my mass of 0.1, I just need a parenthesis, my mass of 0.1 divided by my mass of 0.2, I expect this to give me 0, right? If the relations are the same and I subtract them, it should give me 0 in total. So I'm just going to put in some numbers so we don't have that stupid divide by 0. And the other thing we're told is that S22 must consist of a third water. So again, we can actually just say a third minus the composition of water in 22. That should also give me 0. The reason I do it like this, and I actually spoke with Kristen about this for a while, how to do this, is these relations, you could put them in here, for instance. So I could say this one would be equal to 55/45 of stream 01 and all of this. The reason we do it down here is we've seen sometimes Excel has trouble if the constraints don't go to 0. And at the same time, it's much more easy when you go back to it to actually see what you have been doing. Because if I don't do it like this, you can only put in one relation per field, while you might want more of them. Yeah, I mean, one of the issues I ran into was one of the assignments you were told something that affected multiple things in a stream. Yeah, so there are different ways you can write up these relations. But if we do it like this, if these go towards 0, then the 2 information should be correct. I'll just check my cheat sheet if I did it the same way. Yeah, okay, that should work. So I've put in my 2 constraints here. That should basically put me down to 1 degree of freedom. And where is my final one? Actually, that is because I can pick one for myself. So I think in the assignment, if we look at it, it's actually not till, where do we have it? In part C, we're actually told a mass that we have to solve for. So in this case, to make a pound of jam. So if we go to our jam stream to 2, let's try and see what happens if we put in a 1 there. Actually, I haven't tried this one, so we don't know if it'll work. And, oh, I just have to mark it in green. We have now decided the value of this cell. And the final thing I need to do is to set up all of these. That was the wrong way because I want that one. That one. There we go. And I just want to put in some values so it doesn't mess up. There we go. I've put values, random values into all of my, more or less random values into my unknowns. I've picked that I want to produce 1 pound. So now I want to set up my solver. N2, does that check out? N2, we want it to be equal to 0. We'll try and say we want all of our mass balances to be 0. Have that there. And then I can say these two conditions I also want to be 0. And is there anything else? What can Excel change? These ones. Whoa, these ones. Oh, it messed up. Hang on. There we go. These ones and these ones. And just out of habit, I want all of my fractions to be equal to 1. 0, 1, 0, 0. Fingers crossed. Boom. No, what has gone wrong? So now we will start to look at where it might have gone wrong. I suspect that Excel doesn't like if you actually have too many equations. So if we just say that we just take it from the start, I want that one to be equal to 0. I want that one to be equal to 0. And I want these to be equal to 0. And you may change these cells, these and these. Am I happy with the value? No. What have I messed up? That one. Actually, I think the issue might be that I have left the compositions, all of them as variables. So I'm just gonna take for these two for my glucose and say these ones are actually defined because they're equal to 1 minus that one minus, oh dear, can't I do that? Sucks. 1 minus the sum of those two. We'll just cheat a bit. Okay, that went a bit fast. Sorry about that. So I've just put in that my percentage of glucose in the two streams where we didn't know it had to be 1 minus the sum of the others. And I just want to put in some values here that are not the guesses of Excel. This. And then I just need to check my conditions again because Excel can only change these, these and these. And just to be nice, I will just add the green color to these and solve it. Let's see what happens. No! It was going so well. Here we have... Why are you not telling me when I write stuff that's not true, dear students? Clearly that's a wrong equation. So, what enters in my first one would be that one plus that one minus that one. Right, 1, 1. Hopefully, we'll just check the others. That one looks fine. 1 entering, 2 exiting, and this one 2 entering, 2 exiting. There we go. Yay! Okay, so in case you didn't catch it, I had made a mistake here where I had added my B4 instead of subtracting it. I changed that, changed it for all of the other balances for my first one, and I'm now at a point where Excel can finally find the solution. Now, I also said we could try, instead of having the relations down here, it should be possible for us to just put them in here. So we could say that's a third. We could say this one is 55/45 times the stream above it. So basically what I've said now is that the 55/45. I know it says 45/55, but that's because, okay, we'll make it easy instead. This one, I don't know what it is. This one is equal to 45/55 of that one. So that's how it goes. If I want to express it the other way, it'll be 55/45. Lovely thing to say. And we'll just mark these two and say we've actually defined these in the cells. And we just have to remove it from our solver. This is gonna end in tears, but we'll do it anyways. I want all of my equations to be 0. And Excel is allowed to change these, and that one. Oh, for heaven's sake, stupid Excel. No, of course not. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not looking at the chat. I'm not listening. I can't hear you. There we go. Yeah, so the problem is you can actually only set the objective of one cell in Excel. So I have put in N2 is equal to 0, and I know I'm repeating myself down here. That actually shouldn't be a problem, though it sometimes is. All students look away. Hey, you can look back. Excel solved it. So it's the exact same equations, I've just put them into Excel in a different way, where the main reason I do it, where I write them down here, is it's much easier to keep track of what you're doing, because if you didn't have these, if you just look at your sheet, you're like, unless you color code them, you actually can't see what's going on. And more importantly, when you come back to this tomorrow, you'll look at this and you'll go, where did the 45/55, how did that appear? So make sure that you somehow note where you get all of your information from. So I tend to do it like this, where I say that we have an information given that the relation of 0,1 and 0,2 is 45/55. Sometimes I would even add after that to say this means M, what is that? 0,1 is equal to 45/55 times M02. So I actually can see what it is I'm doing, what equations I want to write. But yeah, that was another one solved. So if we want to produce 1 pound of jam, we need 48 centipounds, stupid system, and 59 centipounds. I'm gonna call them centipounds. That's how it is. And of course we can then change if we want to know if we put in 100 kilograms here or 100 pounds. We can adapt and solve. So that was for 9. Should we do another? Do I have one? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I was considering doing one more, I just have to find it. Yeah, okay. If you're up for another, we can run through one other example. What number was it? 437, really? 437. Yes. Is there some information over here? Just some questions. So we actually have all of our information here. As you can see, we have the drawing already. This is for the washing of dirty shirts. So we wanna somehow get this put into Excel. One of the reasons I picked this one as one of the ones I wanted to show you is because you can see down here in the data part, we are being given a lot of information that might be a bit tricky to see how you convert that into Excel. So I have cheated even more than usual. If we go back here and we say this is our 437, I have made a small drawing, and just for the heck of it, we will just grab that drawing as well, just so we have it for reference. I hope this is big enough for you to see. And let's see how quickly I can do this. Away. Away. I'm not cheating. There we go. And down there. Yeah, so I figured you could handle if we skip this. Now, one of the things you can consider in this case, as you can see, a lot of the information we are being given is on the basis of 100 pounds of dirty shirts. So I'm gonna start out by simply saying I'm gonna put in the 100 so that I'm using that basis, because that fits with a lot of the data I've been given. And we then start to look at what information are we being told. Well, what's it? Some of the stuff I would actually put into the active cells here. So for instance, we're being told that if we have 100 pounds of dirty shirts, we'll have 2 pounds of dirt in those shirts. So the stream with the dirty shirts contains 2% dirt. That's basically what that translates into. So I can put that in there. I have 2% dirty shirts. And in this case, we don't have any cleaning agent present in the 01 stream. And we immediately have the percentage of shirts in the shirt stream. And we're doing a basis of 100. So I'll just take my shirt percent, multiply it by my total. And we'll do this for, oh, did I mess that up? No. So this is basically, all of this are the calculations I've been doing all the time. So instead of looking at the masses right now, I'm looking at the compositions. They will define my system. So what else do we know? Well, we know that in stream 02, we have no shirts, we have no dirt, we only have, what did they call it? Visio. Viso. In our stream 11. So if you look at my drawing, I have put in some extra unit operations for my mixing points so that I can keep track of that. So in my 11 stream, that's where we have the 97% of Wizzo, and of course we don't have any shirts in that stream, so we already know how much dirt we are actually recycling in that stream. What else do we know? In our 2-1, so that's this one, that corresponds to our 87% of Wizzo. 87. Again, my dirt is 1 minus that amount. If you look at the assignment, we are actually, you can see that there are some streams where we know there won't be any shirts. So in basically all of the bottom part here, we don't have any shirts in those streams. So we can fill that out and say, what is that? For 1, for 2, 2-1. What else? That's it for now. Yeah, I know. Sometimes, I mean, in theory they don't tell us that, so that's sort of an assumption I'm making. I don't believe it says so. Yeah, I'm not gonna waste time discussing it. In theory, they actually don't state that all of the shirts exit the clean shirt stream. Oh no! What happened here? Why the phoebe is that a non-value? Whatever, I hate Excel. Onwards we go. What else are we being told? That is pretty much it, I believe. I'll just check with my cheat notes. No, we're also being told, what stream is that? We'll just find this one. So here, we can actually see it here. You can see that our exit stream 4.1 contains 8% Wizzo. So that is our 4.1, contains 8%, and immediately we know the percentage of dirt in that stream. That is all we are being told. So basically, orange, those we don't know. Those we don't know. And all of these we don't know. That should check out for now. Why do I have something different? Yes, in my stream 3.2, where we are actually recycling Wizzo directly into our agitated top. Where does it say that? Here in data point 3, we are told that 22 pounds is rung back into the top. So this recycle stream contains no shirts. So we'll just add that to 3.2, no shirts, white or no fill. There we go. Now we start. Okay, we can do the balances first. Let's do that. We're gonna do balances. We have a total balance. Now I can't see how I did it. There we are. I have my shirts, my dirt, and my Wizzo. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 units and my total. And we will just say what enters our first unit. That would be 0.2 plus 4.2 minus 1.1. So if you look down here, you can see 0.2 enters my first unit operation, my 4.2 enters, and my 1.1 exits. So that's my balance in total, and I'll just drag it along for the other ones, shirt, dirt, Wizzo. For my second unit operation, I have 0.1 entering, I have 1.1 entering, and I have 3.2 entering. So this recycle stream also enters into my second unit operation. What do I have leaving? I have my 2.1, I have my 2.2, and that is all the streams that are exiting my second unit operation. Drag that along. We do it for the third one. What enters is 2.2. What exits is 3.1 and 3.2. Drag it along. Da, 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 da. For our fourth one, what is entering is 2.1. What is exiting is 4.1. Let's there, and 4.2. Drag that along as well. And what if we look at the entire system, we have 0.1, 0.2 are the two streams that are entering. What is exiting, that would be stream 3.1 and 4.1. Those are the two exiting our total system. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna put in some numbers. And like we did before, in each stream, I am gonna say that, actually I'm not gonna bother with that. Never mind. So that's one. Oh, you can do it like that. Cool, I just learned something. There we go. Everything is made up. Now, we have in this case a bunch of information. Can I actually... Where is my snipper tool? We'll just grab that. Put it in here so that we can see it. We have our equations and conditions. So, what are we being told? We are being told for the second point that washing removes 95% of dirt. What does that mean for our system? That means that the amount of dirt in stream 4.1 is equal to 95% of the dirt in stream 0.1. The 95% of the dirt in the shirts have to exit. So how do we do this as an equation? Well, we just say we have 95% of the dirt in stream 0.1 up here. If I subtract the amount of dirt in 4.1 from 95% of the dirt in 0.1, that should give me 0 if this condition is fulfilled. So that's one information we're given. Then we're told that for every 100, or do I have to write pounds? Okay, for every 100 pounds of dirty, good question. Wouldn't it be 95% of S2.1? Not 2.1. When I was looking at it earlier, my first thought was that I have some dirt entering in 0.1, I have some recycling in 1.1, and I actually might have some recycling in 3.2. So that was my initial thought, was I needed to add those up, and it was 95% of that. But the statement from the assignment is the washing removes 95% of the dirt in the dirty shirts. So that's why I say it must be 95% of the dirt that enters with the new dirty shirts. So that's why I put it up like this, because that is technically what the assignment says, that it removes 95% of the dirt in the dirty shirts, or in the stream with dirty shirts. So the entire system is 95. Yeah, so basically what we're being told is if I send in X amount of dirt in my 0,1 stream, 95% of it is gonna end up in my 4,1 stream. 95% of the dirt that I start out with on my shirts are gonna be cleaned out and discarded through 4,1. So that's why I put it up like this. 95% of 0,1, or the dirt in 0,1, subtract the amount of dirt in 4,1, and that, if that is true, it should give me 0, this equation. The next information I have decided to add is that for every 100 pounds of dirty shirts, 25 pound whiz leaves in 2,2. So that is in stream 2,2. I have this amount of Wizzo leaving. How can I put that as an equation? This means that if I take my mass of my stream 0,1 times a quarter, should be equal to the mass of Wizzo in stream 2,2. Right? So if you look at the relationships, doesn't that check out? Now I'm actually confused. Hang on. Yeah, so if I have 100 pounds of dirty shirts, I'll have 25 pounds of Wizzo leaving. So if I have 100 pounds, or if I have X, a quarter of that in Wizzo will exit in, which stream was it? 2,2. So that is this part here, before we actually recycle our Wizzo. So in the next sentence, I'll just put this in as an equation. So I can say that if I take my mass of 0,1, that's that one, multiply it by a quarter. Actually, I can just divide it by a quarter. If I subtract the amount of Wizzo in 2,2, so I go to my stream 2,2, I find my amount of Wizzo. There we go. This should give me 0 if that condition is satisfied. So if 25 pounds of Wizzo enters per 100 pounds of shirts, then this equation should give me 0. Then we're being told that of those 25, 22 pounds will be recycled in our 3,2 stream. So 22 of those, 25 pounds are run back into our second unit. The amount of Wizzo in 3,2 is equal to 22/25 of the Wizzo in 2,2. Right? If we put that as an equation, it'll basically be that the amount of Wizzo in 3,2, so that's this one. Just gonna check 3,2, yes. If I subtract 22/25, I'm just gonna put in a parenthesis to be sure Excel doesn't screw with us. The amount of Wizzo in 2,2, so that's this one. If this one is 0, then again I expect that condition to be fulfilled. So, in theory, if I go to my data and my solver, and I say I want that equation, B14, to be 0. I want those two to be 0. And I want all of my mass balances to be 0. And just for the fun of it, I want all of my fractions to be 1. Which cells can I change? I pick all of my variables. There we go. And now we'll see what I forgot since it can't solve. Here we go. Holy shit. It took a bit longer, but it actually worked. Let's see if the solution makes sense. If we just quickly look at it. If we have 100 pounds entering, what did we expect? We have our 25 of Wiso there. Okay, this should be... Oh, I switch between keyboard and mouse. What do you mean? Of course I do. Okay, that one should, in theory, be 22. We've gotten close enough. I think I showed some of you, I'm just gonna show it again, that when you are using the solver in Excel, where is it? Options. Here we go. You can actually see that we can define a precision for when we solve our equations. Normally I would say don't change it. I know it sucks that we don't get exact numbers, and some of you would prefer that. The more precise you try and make it, the higher a risk is it. The higher the risk of Excel not being able to find a solution. And on top of that, it's gonna take much longer as you start to increase this amount. If you need more precision, of course you can do it. Close that. Sorry, I just lost track of the chat. I have more shirts exiting. I don't think so. You have 100 pounds of dirty shirts entering, but 101 pounds of clean shirts exiting. S01 and 31. Yeah, okay. Hey, no dirty minds in my chat. The shirts do actually gain weight, because if you look, although we are going from the shirts containing 2 pounds of dirt to only 0.1 pounds of dirt, we are not managing to wring out all of the detergent, all of the Wiso. So although we have gone down in the dirt mass, we actually have some Wiso still present in our 3-1 stream. So that's why you hang your shirts to dry after you've cleaned them of dirt with Wiso. So that's why we have this slight increase in the total stream. You can actually see that for the shirts, they remain constant, or the amount of shirts, we have them in 01, 98 pounds. In our 2-2, 98 pounds. And when they exit, we still have 98 pounds of shirts. They're just mixed with less dirt and more detergent. How much Wiso is being recycled through the shirts? None of it. It's evaporated, or it gets absorbed through your skin and you get cancer and you die. Sucks to be a chemist. Let's just quickly jump back to the assignment and see, is there anything we were told to calculate? How much pure Wiso must we supply? We go back to our streams and we say the pure Wiso enters in 02. There we go. So for 100 pounds of shirts, we have to add 3.1 pounds of detergent. Did they ask us anything else? What is the composition of the recycled stream? I'm assuming they mean 4.2. So if we go to 4.2, we can see that we have luckily no scherts. We have about 3.5% dirt and 96.45% WISO. What you can actually also see, I'm just going to do a quick calculation. I mean, all of the mass balances check out, so of course this is true, but we'll do it here. The amount of dirt that enters our system is 2 pounds, and we're removing it through the stream 3.1 and 4.1, and we get close to 0. So although we actually have a certain amount of dirt cycling around in our stream, actually how much do we have of that? Just out of curiosity. So that would be our 4.2. And I guess our 3.2. That sounds like a lot. Wow, I'm actually gonna have to check up on that. That sounds a bit too high somehow. But yeah, according to our solution, we actually end up having basically 32 pounds of dirt that we are recycling in our streams, mainly in this cleansing part or in this ringing part, where we just keep having a lot of dirt that is cycling. Maybe it is, I don't know. Anyways, what does the time say? 2026. I think that's enough mass balances for all of us for today. I'm just gonna finish off by saying thank you for joining, of course, and the streams will be available so everyone can see them when they want to or watch them, and I will figure out if I'll have time. It'll either be Saturday or Sunday, but I'll put up a vote and we can see when it suits the most people who want to participate. At that point, I think all of you will have had plenty of time for 431, so I'll be going through 431. Let's just jump to our lovely overview here. Let's just see. The ones I want to do for sure is 431, so that's the one a lot of you have been struggling with. I will do, which was the other one, I'll probably do the bean extraction as well. There was one in particular, and now I can't remember which one it was. I think I'll actually also go through 433, because that one is a bit weird. That's, if you remember, that's one of the ones where a stream has a maximum. So if you're below 4.5 tons, everything goes to M2 in this assignment. And if you're above that, some of it starts to be bypassed. So I'll try and go through how you can set that up in Excel as well, where you basically have a conditional stream value. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see the Danish class tomorrow. I will probably not be in the study cafe, unfortunately. I have to be in the lab, but I think that Kristen and Torben had some time at least to look in on you. But yeah, get in touch if you need more help. Thank you all for watching and see you next time.